Well, beyond thrilled to have somebody I've looked up to, somebody that many people, army of people, have looked up to in several realms of the beverage world, several categories. Richard Geoffroy, who's here showcasing and talking a little bit of everything about sake and his new project, his baby, and what he's made with Iwa and how the trajectory was. Without further ado, I mean, Richard, thank you so much. It's serendipitously outstanding how the stars aligned for us to have this conversation after seeing each other in Japan recently. And welcome to Napa Valley again, which is your second home.
It's my second home. It's the Napa got me going, got me on track, as far as winemaking is concerned. Moving from medicine to winemaking, all in the Napa.
Absolutely. I mean, your early days with Domaine Chandon and moving into your role with Dom Pérignon were quite formative to lead you in many ways to where you are now, right?
Yeah, I was appointed chef de cave at Dom Pérignon in 1990. So it has been quite a rapid progression from 84 in the Napa, 90 at Dom Pérignon. And for 28 odd years.
Wow.
Yeah, that long.
Wow.
23 vintages of Dom Pérignon. Anything you drink at the moment is still has been under my supervision.
Wow.
So
Impressive.
you have Iwa on one side and you have Dom Pérignon on the other, and side by side,
Absolutely.
coming out.
Yeah. That is not something everybody can say.
Yeah.
Let me say, we were just saying how your whole legend that precedes you, all these iconic things you've done in the world of wine, and now have you crossed that line following your passion of sake. And it's incredible to see what you've achieved in so little time with Iwa.
Yeah, I'm definitely after experimentation, innovation. I did as much as I could at Dom Pérignon, but under many constraints, French appellations and stuff, history, legacy, and I had to reset on new challenges for more freedom, more creativity, and sake actually proved to be the right correspondence to my wine life. Against the odds, creativity in Japan, in the world of sake, is higher than anything of winemaking.
Indeed. In many ways, I see you as this French samurai that showed up to Japan with all this armor of expertise of blending of champagne for so many years and the wine world, and just started literally carving out through the woods and finding this location in Toyama, Shiraiwa. And tell us a little bit about that experience to everybody. How is that process in finding the right location?
But people keep asking me, about my motivation for moving from one to the other, and I could explain the creative, I could explain the breaking away from the comfort zone of so many years, so many privileges. But frankly, no, the prime thing, this project is out of love. It's pure love.
Okay. That's what transfers into the glass.
There's nothing stronger than love. And I've been developing affinities with Japan for so many years, and that I had to be part of it and to contribute, to roll the sleeves up and not being really a visitor, a spectator, to be part of the game, and humbly contribute, but not mimicking anything that has been made for 1,200 years. Would have been foolish and ridiculous. It was coming up with something which had to be different enough, a personal interpretation, a signature of sake, and hopefully it's remaining true to the DNA of sake, and yet with an element of a personal stamp.
Indeed.
Some of the makers originally were saying, Richard, maybe mind your business, keep making Dom Pérignon, we'll make the good sakes. But it hasn't been lasting for too long. People So the sincerity, the motivation, us establishing, buying the land, the property, giving its name to the brand Iwa, building a team with the local kids and, who were planning to leave the countryside to the city, and building the brewery with Kumakengo, state of the art, and so people saw that we were pretty serious about it, and definitely for good.
Absolutely.
Shira Iwa, the legal entity, carrying the brand of Iwa, is there for good.
Indeed.
We are part of Tateyama in the prefecture, Toyama prefecture. In a few words, an extraordinary adventure. I keep pushing. I wonder how far I can go. Project is very ambitious. We are going to win the world over.
Absolutely, and you're proving it step by step.
Already, Iwa in Japan is now so established, so strong. In 4 years, we established at the very moment, at the start of the pandemic, and which was not necessarily the easiest time ever. Challenge it, to all of us, but to Iwa in particular. And in 4 years, we have been proven, right, proof of concept. We are now more than accepted by the industry, and the follow-up within the consumers, sake freaks, is just insane.
And carving the way for a number of new consumers to sake that otherwise wouldn't have come across it. But now seeing your sake, which to you has to be so fulfilling, to seeing your sake at a number of Michelin-starred restaurants in the U.S. and abroad. I mean, dare to say most of the spots, by the glass, and giving that opportunity and pedestal.
In Japan, right away, people have been saying, wow, thank you for coming. Thank you for giving a stir. And the stir has been such that Iwa can meet really an ambition of being really deeply, probably rooted in a way, and endorsed, supported, anything there in Japan, and same time to reach out and embrace the different cultures of the world, cultures of food and possibly no food, pretty rapidly, and way beyond Japanese moments. And fair enough, and we are now reaching out to non-Japanese moments, restaurants, chefs, sommeliers, and the world total in 20 markets, Japan included. We are already in sort of a split, 50-50 split of Japanese, non-Japanese.
Outstanding. That is a true statement of what you're doing in the narrative.
We are in 130 Michelin-starred restaurants.
Wow, 130.
We are in 41 three-star restaurants. And there was the 50 best last week in Vegas.
Indeed.
And Iwa is listed in number 3, number 5, and number 6.
What an accomplishment. At a moment, dare to say, of Japanese sake in particular, having a hard time reaching to an audience where the number of breweries, throwing some statistics, in the 1980s was about 3,000 breweries operating and bonded, and now decreasing to less than 1,100, if you will. And then Iwa and champions like yourself, something I admire is that coming in and making a focus on sake and saying, no, sake is here to stay. It's a thousands-year-old tradition, and the way you're doing things and really doing it from the heart, as you say, and changing the narrative, it's quite impressive.
I have great ambitions for sake, and number one, I believe that sake has the potential of being universal someday, not overnight.
Yeah.
But time is no object. It's just a matter of being in the capacity of making it. And number two, I'm a wine guy, originally. My DNA is wine. But number two, is the wine guys are better watching because we are coming.
Yes,
You know,
indeed.
and sake, hopefully, you know, you are part of it. Someday will be compared to the greatest wines of the planet.
Yes.
At the moment, the agenda of Japan hadn't been really to be confronting wine. You know, it was a Japanese affair with Japanese references, whatever. But since the future of sake, the future of Iwa is outside, you know, overseas, we got to go for wine, you know, and now I have the certainty of being able to be at the highest level of anything.
You know, we just shared a meal, and you gracefully opened the doors of Iwa recently in Japan on our last minute trip. And one thing that resonates is we're having a fantastic, authentic dinner in the heart of Toyama. And I asked you which sakes you compare Iwa to, who's your competitor? And I love your answer, and I repeat it all the time. You say, I compare it to the best wines produced.
Yeah.
And that is what really sets the bar, because you're really playing in that category with first growths, with great champagnes of the world, with things, and expanding about that. And that's a lot to learn for a lot of sake brewers.
Yeah, and at the moment, the wine guys in the industry or consumers are very interested in sake because there is a definite correspondence between the two worlds. You know, the origin, terroir of sake or rice. The rice terroir is not as critical as you know, the grape terroir, but still there is a rice terroir. The origin, the landscape, the terroir, the people, the culture, the fermentations, the food, the storytelling. All this is shared by wine and the good sakes. So I see so much of a growing interest from the wine community into sake for certain.
Absolutely. Shall we taste it?
Yeah.
And talking all this, it's made me very excited, and all my brain cells are getting super thrilled about this moment. So talking a little bit about Iwa, you've done several expressions, and this is number 4, which is the new Assemblage.
Yeah, just came out.
Just came out, and here I love your approach to it, in which you're blending and creating new series, if you will. And I'll let you explain it better.
I come from Champagne, so I know of a non-vintage champagne, you know, the continued, the consistent and everything. And I really believe that, you know, the future is, you know, more in the discontinuity, you know, the variations to prompt anticipation, excitement, discovery, surprise, comparison, preference, you know, to get people into a game. And continuity, consistency can be somewhat boring, frankly. Absolutely. So obviously, I've been through all of this through the glorious vintages of Dom Pérignon, and Dom Pérignon is definitely like anything of vintage wine, you know, of the seasonal variations. It's Mother Nature. Whereas here, I mean, introducing elements of variations from the experimentation, you know, from the processing.
Absolutely.
Wow. And it's number 4, and actually the previous 3 have been all so different, going really number 1 somewhat into champagne-like characters, number 2 in sort of white burgundy characters. You know, I'm quoting really people who have been really raving and commenting on them, but finally 4 is Iwa.
This is...
Voilà. To date, I think Iwa, I mean, Assemblage is the fairest representation of my ideal, of that long distance dream, ideal of Iwa. So
Absolutely.
I'm just narrowing it down, you know. In a way. Voilà.
It's a constant.
Yeah. So
journey.
it's a content evolution, hopefully progress, and basically was, you know, most, not to say all, high-end Junmai Daiginjos are really more nose than palette. I've been working on making palette just on the par, you know, with the nose, you know, perfect equilibrium of the two. So investing way more on the palette than anybody there in Japan, more presence,
Yes.
more richer, more intense, more complex, without losing the flow. You know, sake, in my view, but I'm sure it's shared by so many people, is about the purity of in aromatics, and number two, the flow, what I unashamedly call the drinkability. But instead of making it water fluid, I'm making it rich enough. And the only way to make the rich flowing is really to make it no weight, no gravity. And the only way to make no gravity is balance. And the only way to achieve superlative balance is blending. It's blended.
Absolutely.
It's blended to an extent nobody has gone into. Some people are blending elements, parts in the process, but here it's really from the rice varieties down to the integration of reserve sakes from previous years. And to date, I don't see anybody, you know, blending three or several rice varieties.
To the extent
together.
that you do it, I got to see firsthand. Well, you were blending that day, and you had, dare to say, what, 30
Yeah,
different
30,
lots.
30.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
And your expertise coming into this part, it's outstanding to see. Are you releasing then for the audience one expression a year, a new assemblage, or what is the plan on that realm?
Yeah, at the moment it's one assemblage a year.
Excellent.
I'm a single product guy.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily for too long, but in the original years it's important to build a brand, to achieve brand and sake recognition, identity.
Mm-hmm.
So, but obviously I will expand out. Never to a spread of so many sakes, like we see it really in the world of craft.
Mm-hmm.
But still limited, but very meaningful, and hopefully the same as Iwa 5. I would say looking for new territories, new gaps.
Yes.
You know, things, areas, territories which haven't been explored. Again, not mimicking anybody, going my way.
Carving your own path. As far as ageability, what do you tell a consumer that is buying Iwa, drink it fresh, age it, do both?
Yeah, there's such a strong belief within the industry itself and many consumers, not to mention the trade in between, there's that sake doesn't age. Well, if you say that sake evolves and never remains the same, and it should remain the same, okay, it doesn't age. But I'm a wine guy, and I always believe that evolution is a good thing. And in any case, Iwa is evolving in the bottle for the better.
Indeed.
Like the great wines and the potential is immense. You know, we have Assemblage 1, the original one, harvest 2018, bottling 19, released in 20. So 5 years in a bottle, showing great, and there is no sign of fatigue or whatsoever, and it will be, you know, projecting itself, you know, way beyond the 10 years. It can be cellared. We are holding verticals of Iwa.
Beautiful.
And we are working with the greater chefs in the Valais, the French Laundry, at Press, working on verticals and.
Absolutely.
So, well.
Having tasted the one recently, I can tell from experience. I mean, it's made me a huge believer. If I was already excited about Asian sake, and that's something I practice at home all the time. We just opened a 2009 sake that I had brought from Japan years ago. Anyway, but this, the Assemblage one, sort of proved that point, and it starts, to me, it was like watching one of your favorite films develop, like Cinema Paradiso, all in your aromatics and palette, and the way it's telling stories. And while Chapter 4, or Assemblage 4, which we're tasting now, it's got the freshness, the purity, and the elegance. Seeing that over the years, how it evolves, it's outstanding.
Yeah, I think we'll see it really evolving throughout the release. Then, it will be kept library.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll keep monitoring it and testing it out together.
Absolutely. I wanted to touch on one more point, which is the glassware. So we discussed this earlier. On the fresher releases, you prefer tighter, smaller glassware?
Yeah. Frankly, it's along the lines of wine. Frankly,
Indeed.
The younger, the fresher, into a narrower glass, and we can afford, expanding out, into, large glass, whatever, white Burgundy, red Burgundy, Bordeaux, when more mature. And not forgetting really the parameter of temperature.
You touched on the money point right there. I wanted to say that next.
Yeah, it's, but most high-end Junmai Daiginjos are recommended chilled.
Mm-hmm.
Iwa is a thriving chilled. It could be, down to the insane low temperature. But at the same time, it can be drunk warm enough, I would say body temperature, that's right under 100. And for spectacular experiences, and I'm not recommending you are warm on anything, on any occasion, but even in specific ones of more challenging food, textured, fibers, meat stuff, game, particular sorts of kinds of cheese, and not to mention spice. Iwa at body temperature is really possibly the ultimate response to spicy food, be it Mexican, Thai, Chinese, Sichuan, Hunan, anything you name it, spicy. It can, brilliant.
So a little warmer for higher spice.
Yeah.
Wow, brilliant point.
So the whole thing is so playful. There are endless combinations between the diversity of the greatest cuisines of the world, the glassware, the temperatures. You can keep recombining forever, ever.
Yes.
No repeat.
That is a great message, that there is no real rule, something that's limiting you, but instead inviting that creativity and growth.
Yeah, we are holding so many dinners with the greater chefs, and I never force the chef into a menu. I take it as it is, and never had been proven in difficulties. Just it's so much fun, and I don't see any beverage on this planet able to bring that much fun.
That scope that you
Unlimited.
get. Having seen that firsthand, I was very honored and thankful that I would join one of the early single thread dinners with Chef Kyle, and we were presented with his vast menu and the temperatures playing, the glassware, all this dance that came with that. It was quite memorable and something I still repeat to this day. It's having an orchestra of options with only 3 expressions at that time.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So, and obviously, this, the successive diverse assemblages will keep accumulating for renewed experiences, and then at some stage in the future, I will come up with something new from the sleeve.
Absolutely.
To a new kick,
Mm-hmm.
a new adventure, pushing it further.
Richard, in last words, closing words, what is your plan for 20, 30, 50, 100 years for Iwa? How do you see that growth and expansion and future?
Many people believe that the project of Iwa is a small one, is boutique. No, it's such an ambitious project.
Yes.
I've been brought up at the school of Dom Pérignon, working with Mr. Arnaud, and I've been learning how to be ambitious. Yeah, so I see an Iwa, able, having the confidence to be on sort of a peaceful conquest, of so many cultures, so many people, and coming up with a few different expressions, not many.
Mm-hmm.
If I could make, long term, make it 3 sakes, I would be very happy.
Fantastic.
And each one you would be, so meaningful, so profound, with so much content, way more, way beyond the liquid in the glass, but with a story, bringing really an element of the cultures of Japan. I'd love to contribute in bringing really contemporary Japanese to the world, bringing new energies into the country, into Japan just as well, to have sort of a circular scheme of energy out, back in,
Yep.
to have Japan possibly more contributive to the world, on the large. If
Yeah.
I could humbly be part of this, I would be very, very happy.
Amazing. I think you're doing a fantastic job, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm the biggest fan. Seeing how you carried that flag, and not only taking that love from Japan, but giving it all back and creating, carving out those ways. Amazing job. Congratulations. Thank you so much on behalf of myself, Wine Axis. We're fantastic and big just the biggest fans of Iwa.
Thank you. Thank you, Eduardo.
Thrilled to see the future
Thank you.
develop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. To our future.
Cheers.